Passage 8, it has 3 questions, question number 49 to question number 51. Now this is a short passage where the author is talking about getting the opportunity to review a particular book written by two extremely formidable writers, and then the second paragraph talks about how the Bengali writers or Bengali poets have tried really hard to come out of the shadows of the Tagore cult and the influence of Rabindranath Tagore on the Bengali literature or the Bengali writers. Now the author doesn't really give any judgment as to whether this influence has been good or bad, and also the questions are direct in nature, so just reading the passage will help you answer these questions. Now question number 49, it says, which of the statements given above are correct? Now here it's a direct question, so let's see. According to the passage, the critic feels overjoyed because, here critic is the writer herself, she has the chance to criticize the works of Dyson and Bose. Now criticize normally has a negative connotation, which means you say something bad about someone or something, you find faults with someone. So criticize will be a misleading word. The correct word there would have been review, hence option 1 cannot be called correct. Let's look at the other options. She can write a separate book on Dyson and Bose. Now she doesn't talk anything about writing, and in fact if we go to that line, it says the reviewer, needless to state, is overwhelmed and consider herself privileged to critique this recently published book. Now critique doesn't mean criticized, so we have to keep that in mind. Now 3 says she can analyze the poetic excellence of Bose and Dyson, again quite clearly mentioned in the first paragraph. And option 4, she has the honor to evaluate 2 literary grades. There's a slight mistake here or misprint here in terms of a question mark, so you can is there in the paper also, you can ignore it. Dyson and Bose. Now here it says that the 2 luminaries, it's written the formidable luminaries of the post-Tagore Bengali literary arena, hence option 3 and 4 are correct, and our answer would be option C. Question number 50. Why does the author believe that it was arduous means difficult, for Bengali poets to come out of Tagorean influence? Now the answer to this can be found in the second paragraph, which says that it was indeed very difficult for Bengali poets to break free from the pervasive presence of Tagore cult. So option 1, Bengali poets had run out of ideas, looks misleading. Nowhere it is mentioned that they didn't have talent or they didn't have ideas. Option B says Bengali poets have always feared that they would unintentionally emulate Tagore in their writings. Sounds correct, because the Tagore influence or cult was so pervasive that many of the poets really tried, or they had to strive hard to break free of or to come out of the shadows of the influence of Tagore. Bengali poets have always revered the greatness of Tagore, and so they could not go against the poetic genre established by the latter. Now the passage is silent about it. There's nothing mentioned here about whether they could not go against it, whether writing in a different style would be against their moral fiber, or it would be against their poetic quality or nature. Nothing is mentioned in the passage regarding this. And option D says after the demise of Tagore, no Bengali poet could be regarded as a great poet. Now this is misleading, the passage doesn't even talk about it, hence the answer is option B. The next one is, which one of the following options is untrue according to the passage? So key word here is untrue. We have to look at something which is false. Almost every Bengali poet has referred to Tagore in his or her writings. Now this one is mentioned, second paragraph, we can go back and check. Tagorean influence was the most prominent during the years 1901 to 1950. Now it is directly mentioned, first line of the second paragraph, directly mentioned here. Now the next one is, towards the beginning of the second quarter of the 20th century, certain poets freed themselves from the influence of Tagore. Now it's written here, if we go back to the second paragraph again, it's possible for the poets of the early 30s onwards to break free from the mesmeric spell that Tagore had cast so firmly and widely. So that one also looks correct. Only Buddhadeva Bose and Jibanananda Das wrote in a genre which was very different from Tagore. Now the word only here is misleading. Here it's mentioned that, let's go back to that line, where Jibanananda Das and Buddhadeva Bose, those scholars and critics of Bangla literature quite rightly will cite many more names. So they were not the only one. Hence option D is incorrect. And that's the answer.